Determine your values, the starting point of developing high levels of self-confidence, and in becoming a superior human being is for you to think through and to decide on your values. Superior men and women are those who have taken the time to decide clearly what it is they believe in, and in what order, and they have then organized their lives so that everything they do reflects those values. Recently, I addressed about 150 members of the national sales force of a very successful company. This company had started from an idea and had grown very rapidly in an extremely competitive market, and the company was very profitable. All the people at the meeting were remarkably positive and upbeat, and had a special quality of goodness about them. When I commented on this, the president of the company showed me the value statement that the executives of the company had worked out before they had begun operations. There were 2 pages of values and principles that were given to everyone in the company when they began. These 2 pages had been subsequently reduced onto plasticized cards that each person could carry in their wallet or purse. The president told me an interesting story. He said that whenever 2 or more people in the company were wrestling with a decision of any kind, even over the telephone, they would pull out their plasticized cards describing the corporate values. They would then review the values together, one by one, and compare the various options available to them with each value. Whatever decision they finally made would always stand the values test, without question. Values in business. In a recent study covering 25 years of business history, the researchers found that the companies that had very clear written values to which everyone in the company ascribed had earned an average of 700% greater profit over the 25 years than other companies in the same industries that did not have a written codes of values. As within, so without. Whenever I conduct a strategic planning exercise for a corporation, the executives of the corporation always select integrity as their highest value and most important organizing principle for the entire corporation. In my experience, almost every corporation will select the value of integrity as one of their foremost organizing principles. The word integrity, according to the dictionary, means perfect, undivided, complete, unified, a single whole, without blemish or fault. It's a fine value to choose. This is a good choice, but, in reality, integrity is more than a value. It is the one quality of mind that assures or guarantees all the other values that you select. The economic and personal results of individuals and corporations with clear values always tend to be far superior to those of companies and individuals whose values are vague or unclear. Clarify your personal values. Your starting point toward higher self-confidence and personal greatness is to, first of all, clarify your values for yourself. It is for you to decide for yourself the values that you believe in. What do you stand for, and even more, what will you not stand for? What values do you espouse that you are willing to sacrifice for? What values would you pay for or sweat for or maybe even die for? Do you value your family, your God, your health, your work or career? Do you value principles such as freedom, liberty, compassion for the less fortunate, or reverence for life? Do you believe in honesty and truth and sincerity, and hard work and success? Whatever your values are, think them through and write them down. Who do you most admire? A useful exercise is for you to think of the men and women, living and dead, whom you most admire. What qualities or attributes of these people do you consider the most important? If you could be like any one of these people, which of their qualities would you most want to emulate when you look around you at the people you admire? What qualities of these people do you consider the most important? What qualities do you look for in your friends and associates when you are trying to decide whether to become deeply involved with them? What do you think are the fundamental qualities or values that underlie business and personal relationships? What are your values? Values are non-negotiable. When you select a value, if it's to be one of your values at all, it becomes inviolable. Either it is a fixed value, and you live every part of your life consistent with it, or it is not one of your values. You cannot have a value when it is convenient and put it aside when it's not convenient. You cannot have a little bit of integrity. It must be all or nothing. The act of selecting your values is also the act of clearly stating to yourself, and sometimes to others, exactly how you will live your life from this moment forward. Once you have selected a value, and you have declared it to be one of your unifying principles, you are, in effect, saying that this is something on which you will never compromise, and your level of adherence to the values you have personally selected is the real measure of your character, your true quality as a human being. Unshakable self-confidence comes from unshakable commitment to your values. When, deep down inside yourself, you know that you will never violate your highest principles, you experience a deep sense of personal power that enables you to deal openly and honestly and with complete self-confidence in almost every human situation. Values clarification. If you're having any difficulty in clarifying your values, a very helpful exercise is to take some time to write out your own obituary or eulogy. Imagine that everyone you know and care about is gathered at your funeral to pay their last respects. The minister reads your eulogy to this assembly of people, and in it he describes the person you became over the course of your lifetime. He describes not only what you accomplished and what you contributed to the lives of others, but he reads out the virtues, values, and qualities that you were known for by the people around you. This obituary can become your vision of the kind of person you wish to be and the kind of values that you wish to live by. No one is perfect, and we all have a long way to go in living our lives consistent with our highest values. But the very exercise, writing out your obituary, will exert a powerful influence on everything you do thereafter, both consciously and unconsciously. You will be drawn toward living and acting more and more like the person you described in that final testament. Organize your values. Once you've decided on your values, your work is not over. Now you have to organize your values by priority. You have to decide which value is more important and which value is less important. Squares of paper, and then you had to throw away all the squares but one. Which one would you keep? This then becomes your foremost value, the one that takes precedence over all others. Which would be your second most important value, your third, your fourth, and so on. Your order of priority is extremely important in determining the kind of person you are and the kind of life you live. Many people organize their values with number 1 being God, number 2 being their family, number 3 being their health, number 4 being their career, and perhaps number 5 being success. A person with this order of values is saying that, when push comes to shove, I will always favor the higher order value over the lower order value. Order of values forces you to choose. If your family comes before your health or your work, you would always sacrifice your health or your work for the well-being of your family. If your order of values was changed, and your work or financial success came before your health, you would be saying that you would sacrifice your health if that were necessary to get ahead in your career. I have known businessmen who put career success ahead of their families in their order of priority. When they had to choose one or the other, they regularly chose their work over spending time with their spouse and children. As a result, both the marriages and the careers have run into serious trouble. Selecting your values and then putting them in order of importance actually creates a mental and emotional structure, choices, and decisions in every area of your life. Integrity revisited. The principle of integrity, or adherence to your values, seems to be a law of the universe. Whenever you violate or compromise your integrity for anything, there seems to be a great power or force of retribution that will not allow you to get away with it. Integrity seems to be an absolute requirement for successful human living. A failing in integrity, or compromising your values, not only seems to bring about a punishment that fits the crime, whether he's in business, politics, or personal life, but it seems to create a high level of stress, unhappiness, and inner turmoil in the life of the individual. This need for absolute integrity seems to require that you live in truth with all people and under all circumstances. Living in truth means that you never live a lie. It means that you never compromise your integrity for the sake of a job, or money, or a relationship. It means that you always do and say what you know to be right and true, no matter what the short-term cost or benefit. Living in truth means that you do not pretend or practice self-delusion. You face life, your relationships, and your circumstances exactly as they are, not as you wish they would be. Living in truth means that you never stay in a situation that makes you unhappy, or which you feel for any reason is wrong for you. Set peace of mind as your highest principle. Living in truth means that you set peace of mind as your highest goal and as your core organizing principle. You select all your other goals to be consistent with it. You never compromise your peace of mind for anyone or anything else. You do and say only those things that feel perfectly right for you. You accept your own thoughts and feelings completely, whatever they are, and you systematically change each part of your life that is not giving you peace of mind. Only in this way can you enjoy the high levels of self-confidence that are experienced by the superior individual. Only by insisting that everything you do allows you to live in peace with yourself can you feel really terrific about yourself and get along wonderfully in all your relationships. Your values are only expressed in your actions. Living consistent with your values is the key to happiness, harmony, well-being, and high levels of self-confidence. This brings us to the final point in this chapter, perhaps the most important point of all. It is that your true values are only expressed in your actions, in what you do. You can tell what you truly believe by observing what you do in any situation in which you have to make a choice, especially when you are under stress and pulled into directions at once with opposing demands or responsibilities. This is when your true values are revealed. The action that you take in any given situation will tell you which of your values by doing and saying the things, practicing the behaviors that lead to self-confidence. The most important self-development behavior is living consistently with your highest values at every opportunity. The principle of resistance. In weightlifting, repetitive lifting of heavy weights develops muscles. The heavier the weight and the greater the resistance, the more blood rushes into the capillaries and the bigger the muscles become. In mental development, there is a principle of resistance as well. In developing mental muscles, especially the mental muscle quality of self-confidence, you can use this principle to accelerate your own development. Whenever you exert self-mastery and discipline yourself to do or say the right thing, especially under stress, you create resistance to your natural tendencies. This resistance generates friction. This is the same kind of friction or heat that, when applied to a crucible containing chemicals, will cause the chemicals to crystallize and take on a new form. Whenever you create mental friction by resisting your natural tendencies, instead doing what you know is right and true and consistent with your highest values, especially in a difficult situation, the mental heat causes your values to crystallize at a higher level and eventually become a permanent part of your character.